I, 28F, have spent my whole life watching my mother, 56F, put my brother Jake, 32M, first in everything. This started way before we lost Dad, but his death made everything worse. I have so many memories of Mom excusing Jake's behavior, no matter what he did. When I was 6, Jake pushed me off the swing set because he wanted to use it. I broke my arm, but Mom said it was my fault for not sharing. At age 8, Jake kept stealing money from my piggy bank. When Mom caught him, she just said I needed to share with my brother because he needed more than me. She even started giving him a bigger allowance because he was a growing boy. In 4th grade, I won first place in the science fair. Jake got angry because he didn't win anything, so he destroyed my project the night before it was supposed to go to the district competition. Mom made me apologize to him for making him feel bad about not winning. She bought him a new video game to make him feel better. Everything got worse after Dad died in a car accident when I was 12 and Jake was 16. Mom fell apart completely. She focused all her attention on Jake, saying he was taking Dad's death really hard and needed extra support. I was grieving too, but Mom told me I had to be strong for my brother. I ended up taking care of the house, cooking meals, and doing laundry because Mom was too busy comforting Jake. Jake started causing trouble in high school. He skipped classes, talked back to teachers, and got into fights. Mom always defended him, saying he was still processing Dad's death. When he was caught selling cigarettes to younger students at age 16, Mom transferred him to a different school. She told everyone the first school wasn't challenging enough for him. I worked hard in school, joined clubs, and had part-time jobs. Mom never came to any of my events. When I made honor roll, she missed the ceremony because Jake had detention. When I won a regional debate competition, she couldn't come because Jake needed help with his homework. Every achievement of mine was overshadowed by whatever Jake needed. The drinking started when Jake was 17. Mom found bottles in his room but kept it secret. At 18, he got drunk and crashed Mom's car. She took out a loan to hire an expensive lawyer who got the charges reduced to community service. 3 months later, he got another DUI. Mom refinanced the house to pay for another lawyer. By the time Jake was 25, he had 4 DUIs and lost his license. Mom became his personal driver, taking him everywhere. She woke up at 5 a.m. to drive him to work, picked him up for lunch, and drove him home. She lost a good job because she kept missing work to drive Jake around. When I suggested Jake take the bus, Mom said it wasn't safe and that families should help each other. I put myself through college with scholarships and jobs. My main job was at Chen's Sweet Shop, a local bakery. Mrs. Chen became like a real mother to me. She taught me about baking, business management, and dealing with customers. She showed me how to create recipes, manage inventory, and handle finances. When I graduated college, Mrs. Chen closed the bakery early to attend my ceremony because Mom couldn't come. Jake needed a ride to a job interview. Mrs. Chen even helped me develop a business plan for my own bakery. We spent hours going over potential locations, equipment costs, and marketing strategies. She introduced me to other bakery owners and suppliers. This wasn't just a dream, it was a real plan I had been working on for years. My grandmother, Dad's mom, was my biggest supporter. She visited me at Chen's every week to try my new recipes. She saw how Mom's favoritism was hurting both me and Jake. Grandma often told Mom that constantly bailing Jake out was making him worse, but Mom wouldn't listen. Grandma and I would talk for hours about my future bakery. She helped me research locations and equipment prices. Grandma passed away last year. In her will, she left me $50,000 specifically for opening my bakery. The money was supposed to be transferred 3 months ago. When it didn't appear, I contacted her lawyer. He said Mom had already collected it, claiming she would transfer it to me because I was too busy with work to handle it. I went to Mom's house about the money. Before I could ask, she started crying and admitted giving $45,000 to Jake. She claimed he needed it to get his license back and start a trucking business. She said Jake had a solid business plan and would pay me back double once he started making money. When I asked how she could take money that Grandma specifically left for my bakery, Mom said Jake's needs were more urgent. She suggested I could start my bakery with the remaining $5,000, saying many successful businesses start small. She kept talking about how Jake needed this chance to turn his life around. Jake came to my apartment that evening. Instead of apologizing, he acted like I was being difficult. He said since I had a good accounting job, I didn't need the money like he did. He talked about his trucking business plans and how he would pay me back with interest. When I mentioned Grandma left the money specifically for my bakery, he said Grandma always favored me anyway, so I shouldn't be greedy. I told them both I was done with their manipulation. I reminded Mom how Grandma had warned her about enabling Jake. Mom started crying, saying I was cruel for bringing up Grandma's opinions about her parenting. Jake said I was just jealous because Mom loved him more. I blocked their numbers and social media accounts. Now relatives from Mom's side keep calling me, saying I'm being too harsh. They say Jake deserves another chance and that families should support each other. None of them have offered to replace the money that was stolen from me. Update 1: Things have gotten much worse since my last post. After I blocked their numbers, Mom and Jake started showing up at my workplace. At first, they just waited in the parking lot during lunch breaks. Then they started coming in the morning before work. Jake would stand by my car, and Mom would try to talk to me as I walked into the building. My coworkers started noticing. Some of them saw Mom crying in the parking lot. Others heard Jake yelling at me about being selfish. My supervisor called me into her office to ask if I needed help. She said several employees felt uncomfortable with my family members hanging around the building. The situation got really bad last Tuesday when Jake tried to follow me into the office. Security had to stop him at the front desk. He started yelling so loud that people on the second floor could hear him. Mom was outside crying and telling everyone who walked by that I was breaking her heart. Security ended up banning them both from the property. Mom then started sending emails from different addresses after I blocked her main one. She wrote long messages about how I was destroying our family. She said God would punish me for turning my back on family. She sent emails to my work address too, which almost got me in trouble with HR. My Uncle Pete, Mom's brother, started posting on Facebook about how I was a terrible daughter. He shared old family photos and wrote long posts about how much Mom had sacrificed for me. My cousins joined in, commenting about how selfish I was being. Some of them even contacted my friends to tell them what a horrible person I was. Then last weekend, everything changed when I ran into Jake's ex-girlfriend Sarah at the grocery store. Sarah and Jake dated for 2 years before breaking up 6 months ago. Mom never liked her because Sarah tried to get Jake to stop drinking and get a real job. When I mentioned Jake's new trucking business, Sarah started laughing. Sarah revealed there was no trucking business. Jake had been gambling illegally for over a year. He lost over $40,000 to some dangerous people who were threatening him. Sarah pulled out her phone and showed me months of text messages between her and Jake. In these messages, Jake bragged about convincing Mom to take my inheritance to pay off his gambling debts. The texts were awful to read. Jake called me stupid for believing the trucking business story. He told Sarah that Mom would always choose him over me, so it was easy to get her to steal my inheritance. He joked about how Grandma was dumb to trust me with money instead of him. There were even messages about how they planned to get the rest of Grandma's money that went to other family members. Sarah showed me more texts about Jake's gambling. He had been borrowing money from everyone he knew. He took $5,000 from their neighbor Mr. Wilson, claiming he needed it for medical bills. He borrowed $3,000 from his old high school friend Tom for a fake car repair business. Every time he got money, he would gamble it away trying to win back what he lost. I went straight to Mom's house with the screenshots. She tried denying it at first, saying Sarah was making things up because she was bitter about their breakup. But when I kept showing her more messages, she finally broke down and admitted everything. The gambling people had been coming to her house looking for Jake. They made threats about what would happen if he didn't pay. Mom said she had no choice but to give them my money to protect Jake. When I asked why she didn't sell her house or take out a loan instead of stealing my inheritance, she said she couldn't risk losing her home at her age. She said I was young enough to save up again for my bakery. She also admitted that Jake had used the remaining $5,000 to buy a used car, not to work on getting his license back. The truth about Jake's gambling was even worse than I thought. Mom revealed that Jake had been taking money from her for months before the inheritance theft. He emptied her savings account, took out credit cards in her name, and even sold her jewelry. She was close to bankruptcy but kept it secret from everyone. That's why she felt desperate enough to steal from me. Mom showed me threatening texts Jake had received from the gambling people. They knew where he lived, where Mom lived, and where he went every day. She said she was terrified they would hurt him if she didn't help pay his debts. But when I asked if she had gone to the police about the threats, she said Jake wouldn't let her because he was afraid of getting in trouble. Update 2: Last week, I received a certified letter from Grandma's lawyer that changed everything. While reviewing the estate paperwork, he discovered that Mom had forged my signature on multiple documents to get access to the inheritance. The lawyer found discrepancies in 5 different signatures. He had them verified by a handwriting expert who confirmed they were forgeries. The lawyer said he had a legal obligation to report this to the authorities. Mom called me immediately after the lawyer contacted her. She was crying and begging me not to let them press charges. She revealed that Jake had threatened to move across the country and never speak to her again if she didn't help him with the gambling debts. When that didn't work, He threatened to tell everyone about how she had helped him cover up his previous DUIs. She said Jake knew exactly how to manipulate her using her fear of losing him like she lost Dad. The police investigation into the forgery uncovered more of Jake's schemes. They found that Jake had scammed at least 3 other people in the past 2 years. He would create fake business plans, complete with forged documents and fake references. He even made fake websites for his non-existent companies to convince people to invest. One victim was Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, an elderly couple from our church. They gave him $25,000 from their retirement savings to invest in a fake construction company. Jake told them he was getting government contracts to build low-income housing. He showed them fake paperwork and even took them to look at buildings he claimed his company would be renovating. Another victim was his former high school teacher, Ms. Thompson. She loaned him $15,000 for a non-existent food truck business. Jake knew she had recently inherited money from her mother. He spent weeks convincing her that food trucks were a great investment. He even had Mom cook food for a fake tasting event to convince Ms. Thompson the business was real. The third victim was Tom Wilson, a recent college graduate who had saved money for graduate school. Jake convinced him to invest $10,000 in a fake tech startup. He promised Tom a high-paying job once the company launched. Tom had to delay his graduate school plans when he lost all his savings. The investigation revealed that Mom knew about these scams. She had actually helped Jake cover them up by paying off some of his victims with her retirement money. She paid the Petersons $10,000 to keep quiet about losing their money. She gave Ms. Thompson $8,000 and begged her not to go to the police. She even wrote a letter to Tom's parents apologizing and promising to pay back the money. That's why Mom was so desperate to use my inheritance. She had depleted her own savings helping Jake avoid consequences. The police found bank records showing she had withdrawn over $50,000 from her retirement account in the past year. She also took out 3 personal loans to help pay Jake's victims. The police discovered Jake's pattern of targeting people who knew our family. He used Mom's good reputation in the community to make his fake businesses seem legitimate. At church gatherings, he would talk about his business plans where potential victims could hear. He asked Mom to vouch for him to people she knew, using her trust to gain theirs. Some victims didn't report him because they felt bad for Mom. Jake would tell them that reporting him would break our mother's heart. He reminded them of how she had lost Dad and said she couldn't handle losing her son too. He used our family's tragedy to manipulate people's sympathy. The investigation also found that Jake started these scams right after losing his license. Without being able to drive, he couldn't keep a regular job. Instead of trying to get his license back, he started creating fake businesses to get money. He used some of the money for gambling, telling himself he would win enough to pay everyone back. Update 3: Jake was arrested 2 weeks ago after trying to start another scam. The police found evidence of 7 different schemes he had run. They tracked down all his victims, including several elderly neighbors who had known our family for years. The total amount he stole reached over $120,000. Some victims had taken out loans or used their retirement savings to give him money. I decided to press charges against Mom for forging my signature. Her lawyer offered a settlement where she would sell her house to pay back my inheritance plus legal fees. She refused the deal, saying she needed to save money for Jake's legal defense. She still thinks Jake needs her help more than I need my inheritance back. The stress of everything caused Mom to take medical leave from her job. She sent me a long email saying I was killing her by pursuing legal action. She wrote that a real daughter would forgive her mother and drop the charges. When that didn't work, she had our pastor call me to talk about forgiveness. The pastor told me that pressing charges against my own mother would damage my soul. Most of Mom's family stopped speaking to me. My aunts told everyone I was trying to put my own mother in jail just for helping my troubled brother. Uncle Pete started a fundraiser for Mom's legal fees, telling people I was trying to make my mother homeless. But Dad's side of the family supports me. They remember how Grandma tried to stop Mom from enabling Jake. They started a small fund to help me save for my bakery again. Mrs. Chen from the bakery reached out after hearing what happened. She offered me part-time work at her new location and said she would teach me more about running a business. She even offered to be a reference when I apply for business loans in the future. Last week, I moved to a different city. I found an apartment and a new job at an accounting firm. I haven't told any family members where I moved. Mom's lawyer called again yesterday, trying to convince me to drop the charges. He said Mom was willing to pay me back $100 a month if I would stop the legal proceedings. I refused. Jake's trial date is set for next month. He's facing multiple fraud charges, and the prosecutor says he could get several years in prison. Mom keeps calling from different numbers, begging me to write a letter to the judge asking for leniency. She says Jake made mistakes but doesn't deserve jail time. Some people from our old church say I should show mercy since Mom was just trying to protect Jake. My cousin Amy sent me a long message about how families should forgive each other. But I can't forget how they laughed at my dreams and treated me like I was wrong for wanting what was legally mine. The court date for Mom's forgery case is next month. I'm not backing down. This isn't just about the money anymore, it's about finally standing up to years of manipulation and favoritism. I'm done sacrificing my future to enable Jake's behavior and Mom's delusions. Maybe facing real consequences will finally make them both realize what they've done. For now, I'm focusing on building my new life. I've started therapy to deal with all this, and I'm slowly saving money again for my bakery. It might take longer than I planned, but I'll get there without their help or interference.